All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the show today on this That Square podcast. We're going to talk about the Senior Bowl, obviously, the recap all the way through, risers and fallers, pretty much the whole shebang bang, 1v1 versus D-backs, receivers, offensive line, D-line. Personally, my favorite. I love to watch someone get pancaked, and I love to watch someone put a perfected swim move on an offensive lineman. It's just a lot of fun. This is great. Kind of like the last chance for a lot of these college players to get known, pretty much, and before they go off into the draft and the combine and so on and so forth. First things first, hey, come on, go ahead and subscribe. I'm only a couple away from 1,000, so just help me out, help me get there. All right, enough of that jazz. Let's dive right in, okay? First things first, number one, Spencer Rattler Riser. Dude, this guy came out electrified, balled straight, 100%. The first drive, that's the game. The game alone separated him from almost every single quarterback. And we'll talk about the other quarterbacks too. But right here, right now, Spencer Rattler has learned a lot from his Oklahoma days to South Carolina days. He has come so far, and especially hitting one of the guys from Georgia. I can't remember his name, but I think it was something Mitchell, something like that. I want to say he had two last names. But dude, Spencer Rattler came out there, first drive, boom, 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 and then takes a deep shot, left side of the end zone, knocks it out, ball placement perfect. I have nothing but respect for this whole decision of Spencer Rattler coming to the Senior Bowl, even if he was invited or not, but he played lights out. He did what he was supposed to do. Next up, we got a guy named Kareem Jackson out of Oregon. This cornerback made a hell of a play, bro, straight up. He literally undersold Joe Milton on one of the routes. Literally, I think it was third quarter, I want to say, late third quarter of the Senior Bowl game. But also in his 1v1s, he wasn't as bad. He got beat a couple of times. He went against Braden Rice. Obviously, you're not going to win them all. But for where he was projected to be undrafted, he kind of moved himself up. And also, by the way, I want to say, secondly, I want to add, Spencer Rattler has probably jumped from maybe that late 7-6 round to maybe 4th. That's about the highest ceiling goes for me with Spencer Rattler. I don't think that most NFL scouts are going to take a chance on him anywhere in that sweet spot range, what I like to call it, that second and third round. So I don't think he's going to get there, but he has moved to the 4th round. He has made himself draftable in this draft. We'll say that. Amongst a lot of quarterbacks, he's made himself draftable. Next up, like I said, Kareem Jackson back to the defensive backside of Oregon. He's another riser for me. Like I said, he made an amazing play against Joe Milton. Literally sold the route about maybe 10 to 15 yards away from the receiver, closes the gap with great speed and acceleration, takes the ball straight from him. Could the pass thrown late? Was it underthrown? Who knows? It doesn't matter. The play was made by Jackson. He made the best of the play. And of course, what we love in football is takeaways, takeaways, takeaways. Eliminate the chances for the offense to even score. And that's what Kareem Jackson did. Not against that at all. Another guy who's also a defensive back. We'll say defensive backs for a while, by the way, anyways. Another riser, Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. Pretty much he's been getting a lot of hype. And at first I didn't believe him because, not going to lie, small school, not really playing against exceptional D1 talent like that. Well, Senior Bowl obviously proved a lot to these past few days. Watching him literally handcuff a lot of receivers made me say to myself, hold on, bro, the hype is real. They project him to go in the first round. I believe he can make that leap in there and stay in there later first round maybe. But yeah, dude, this guy, he is the real deal. I like it a lot. Listed at 6'1", 6 foot. So obviously college they do way more line than they should, especially with the whole Xavier Leggett thing coming in at 6'3". He's only like 6'1". Like obviously the whole comparison to Metcalf or T. Higgins, that just gets thrown right out the window because of that. So we don't even want to, obviously you want to know the measurements. That's really what Senior Bowl is about. But I really, like I said, Quinyon Mitchell really balled out, bro. Just pretty much did what he was supposed to do. Same thing with Tyler Guyton, out of Oklahoma, offensive lineman. He kind of just did what he's supposed to do. Tessa Lafanga out of Oregon State. They did what they were supposed to do. But those guys were normal names, obviously household names. But just for me, Quinyon Mitchell, just really, because of course being at a smaller school, I wanted to see it for myself, and I have to say I tip the hat. This guy definitely might go in the first round. Nowhere past the second round. I don't see him not on the board after the second round. I can't imagine that NFL teams passing up on him. Next up is Cam Hart, defensive back out of Notre Dame. Now, we want to talk about really good corners. I have a whole footage of Cam Hart just literally locking down every receiver he went against. Understanding how I think he paired up against Walker a lot in the game, but in the 1v1s, you threw a receiver, he was locking him up. Like, this guy literally was the police department. He found every way for receivers not to get the ball. Whether it was getting aggressive at the line of scrimmage, he played off of the guys that were faster than him and still found a way to make it work. I was like, dude, this guy was a human shadow out there. I just really like Cam Hart. Projected, he's probably 4th round, 3rd round. I can see him going in the 2nd now as his highest ceiling. Pretty much, bro, I can really see him a lot. When I was watching him play, I envisioned straight up him going to the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Broncos to help Patrick Surtain out. I literally just started putting him with teams. Of course, I put him with my team, the Texans, but I don't think we're going to get a chance at him. But I started putting him immediately in those systems just by watching him play a dog and these other receivers out in the college football game in this weekend. So to me, right then and there, Cam Hart, exceptionally, really, really well of a football player. Great talent. Just, I love it. I love to see it. Projection, maybe, like I said, highest is 2nd round, 3rd, 4th. I like the way it's going. Next up is Gabe Hall. Okay, so now we get to the nitty-gritty, guys. My favorite positions, of course, the D-line and the O-line. So, obviously, Gabe Hall, D-line, defensive tackle out of the University of Baylor in Waco. I'm going to tell you this much. If you ever want to watch the definition of a great D lineman using a swim move, it's Bruce Smith, and then it's this guy. No, I'm messing with that's a huge jump. No. So, anyways, really, to be honest with you, Gabe Hall, his swim move on his first day, he looked like Michael Phelps. He literally was killing every single offensive lineman with that swim move. Now, day 2, they adjusted, which is cool. That's fine. That's great. But the damage was already done. He played a little bit in the game, maybe the 1st quarter, 2nd quarter, made a couple of stops here and there. Good run stopper. He really helped his stock out a lot with that first day going one-on-one, the one-on-ones. I loved watching him from the hand in the dirt, just the swim, just the breaststroke over the offensive line. It was so beautiful watching. And if you get a chance, you got to go check it out. I got a little bit of footage, but not a lot of footage on him. But, dude, you got to check him out. Like, he really was doing his thing, man. Gabe Hall, straight up. I see him now projection. I didn't have him projected at all to be drafted because I do believe that this does run deep in the defensive draft. But now seeing that, I could see him going in the 4th or 3rd round. The sweet, like I said, the semi-sweet spot, that's the 3rd and the 4th round. The sweet spot is 2nd and 3rd round. That's to me, you find most of your gold right there. But I can see him right there, 3rd or 4th round for Mr. Gabe Hall. Next up is Braden Rice. Jerry Rice's son. All right. Listed at 6'3", 209, and this one wasn't a lie. He actually is the height requirement of that. With that being said, dude, I literally made a video about this guy 2 days ago. And then I watched him at the Senior Bowl. And everybody's stuck on this guy named Lai Makaki, which is great route runner. They're stuck on another receiver, I believe. But Braden Rice, I don't know what he came to do, but he did that and some. So what I'm saying is the fact that Braden Rice annihilated every corner that went against him. And it was ugly, like to the point where he didn't even have to play in the game. He said he opted out the game, which, of course, obviously, pretty sure his dad probably talked to him in the 1v1. He's going to go to the combine. But they probably had this guy projected 3rd and 4th round. But I could see him going in the 2nd. He's now, to me, he's moved past that 2nd tier into like that later, that other side of the top tier number ones. Outside of the Romeo Odunze's, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s, stuff like that. He's now into the whole tier of the Troy Franklins, the Xavier Leggett's, so on and so forth, stuff like that. And we're going to talk about another receiver, too, that just moved up, too, like that. But seeing him and watching him, how he worked, And Lai McConkey, like I said, I got some footage on him too. He's also moved up the ranks. Obviously, yes, he is a wide receiver. Believe it or not, they can play the game too. Have you not seen Adam Thielen? So I mean, I wanna honestly tell you straight up. As long as you know, Cooper Kupp tripping, and Puka Nacua. But like I said, yeah, when you really look at the X's and O's of these two receivers coming out, they really, pretty much did what they were supposed to do. I don't think that Lai McConkey is a number one, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the first round. But I do believe that Braden Rice is a solid second rounder, and once he gets past that, that is pretty much good capital money on him at that point. You are really cashing in if you're getting him anywhere past the second round, if he makes it past that second round. So Braden Rice and Lai McConkey, two really good receivers coming out. Next up is Braden Frisk, D lineman out of Florida State, dog. You can line him up on the edge, you can line him up inside. Doesn't matter. He gets the job done. Big boy. And he got the country smacked, as I like to call it. He's got a really good bull rush, really good knack for run defense stop. Also on top of that, he's really great at the stunts. Well, what I watched when he was in the game today, really good at that. So we're getting the whole package with this guy. I can see him going in the second round, third round. Definitely has moved up quite a bit. So I really like the way he gets it in. Biggest knock on him though is when he's playing edge, he gets to seem to be put out place once he goes on the outside and kind of stays out there. So he's on the island with the left tackle or the right tackle, whichever side they put him on. That's kind of the only knock for Braden Frisk, and that could push him out of the second round option for a lot of guys because of that, and to kind of keep him one-dimensional in the NFL. But you know how it is. Project players, certain people get a hold of them. To me, like if Dan Quinn gets a hold of them up in Washington or somebody in New England, something like that. Well, right as Scott Belichick is gone, I guess, so really can't really put him there. But something like that along those lines, a good defensive coach somewhere like Dallas could really use a guy like that to help out, cheap value player. He's a rookie, execution like that. But I really like Braden Frisk a lot. Another D lineman, we're staying in the D lineman area. Chris Braswell really started his stock shooting straight up. It's been shooting up since the Michigan game. But pretty much, obviously, in the Senior Bowl, this dude played his... Well, I can't say that. Can I say that word on YouTube? Well, he played his butt off. How about that? He played his butt off for real. And he did exceptionally well. And I love the fact about Chris Braswell is the fact that he didn't just play edge. He played inside a lot, too. He wanted to versatility show. The thing where Braden Frisk was okay at, Chris Braswell excelled at. Obviously, because he does play edge. So, obviously on the island with the tackle. A few times he got Taylor Guyton. No, I'm sorry, not Taylor Guyton. The other dude from Oklahoma. He didn't get Taylor Guyton. But the other guy from Oklahoma and the guy from Texas Tech, he got really good on some one-on-ones and the island, some footage of that I really liked about Chris Braswell. He's definitely moved to a second, possibly late first round. He has made that jump. I mean, obviously notoriety's come from Alabama under Nick Saban, so it's not really much of a conversation because Saban produces really good defensive players. That's just what he does. So, in his last year, could it be, Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell both going out? Who knows? Hey, but I really like Chris Braswell in that later first round, early second round. Next up, Cody Schrader, running back. Now, for me, my golden rule is I don't draft running backs until the third round. That's just me. That is what I would do. Cody Schrader is not an exception to that rule. But prior to this, he was not the ideal running back that I had. I actually had another running back for the Risers, which was Marshawn Ali out of Marshall. But he kind of let me down, and pretty much he went to what I thought was probably going to be undrafted now, just for what he showed at the Senior Bowl. Just wasn't enough. The talent was too big for him. But Cody Schrader, on the other hand, this guy, him and Eron Bailey out of TCU, both of those guys really exceptionally well, running behind a good offensive line. Great vision. You saw it with those two dudes. This is probably your backup running back. They probably fall into that tier 2 where, your Trayvon Hendersons, if he comes out, Blake Corum, Trey Benson, stuff like that. Those guys, they're going to be, of course, the leaders of the pack. Bruce Irving and stuff like that. Bucky Irving, I'm sorry. Guys like that are going to be the lead pack going in. But Cody Schrader, don't be surprised. I can see him going in the 4th or 5th round and really being a steal for a great organization. Just right away, doesn't have to be the start guy, kind of like a mid-season running back. But he does love power. He does run hard. I like that a lot about him. Good between the tackles. Could definitely run between the tackles very well. He was effective in that. Last up is my risers, is Jamari Thrash. All right. If you watch Jamari Thrash, you think of 3 things. He's just a really fast receiver. He's flashy, not really technical, right? And that's what he displayed at Louisville. However, in the one-on-ones, this guy's actually a good route runner. He actually had DBs grabbing Casper for a little bit. So, and then in the game, he actually did a good job too for a little bit for what he did play. So Jamari Thrash is what was one of those guys that I've been watching all season long, and I kind of wanted to put him in that elite class, but I just couldn't do it. And I thought to myself, was it quarterback play or was it him? Like, is he really, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're really picking between the two, and then you start to think to yourself, well, let's just see what he does by himself with a better quarterback or a better talent. And that's when I realized Jamari Thrash is that dude. He that man. He is that man. Jamari Thrash is up there now. I think he's literally he was probably projected to go in the 5th, 6th round, like Aniyah Smith or something like that. But I don't mind seeing him go in that third round for sure. I could see him getting like top 150 players, definitely easily getting picked that 3rd round, something like that, in the sweet spot. I could definitely see that. Teams taking a chance on him like a Pittsburgh or a Cleveland, something like that, in that area, in that aspect where they're going to draft somebody like that needs a player right away that could really excel at receiver position. I wouldn't even be surprised if Buffalo would think to grab him. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see that at all. The Jets, something like that to help out Garrett Wilson, you know, stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised. I just see him going to an organization in that later 3rd round where they don't need a number 2 receiver, but he can produce like a number 2 receiver. I do think that highly of him after watching him today. I think that all the hype is real about Jamari Thrash. From what I saw on the tape during the season and what I've seen at the Senior Bowl finally solidified that, I was good with that. All right. If you made it this far, now we're going to talk about the people that are the fallers in this draft. And this list is kind of short. Really, because the way this guy was playing, and then it's just like a huge drop off. It's just been a decline. And I think he's going to be a steal for a team, but just draft stock wise, he's really hurt himself. He started out like in the 1st round, then he went to the 2nd round last month. Now I can see him as a day 2 or 3 pick easily. That's Latu out of UCLA edge rusher. He just didn't wow me. You know, he didn't show me what I needed to see at the Senior Bowl. And then on top of that, how he ended his season at UCLA. It just was a lot of bad things for him. Next up, of course, is Devontae Walker out of the North Carolina University, UNC. Dude, this dude cannot catch a pass at all. Cam Hart locked him up. It was bad. Like, I was thinking maybe it was just some bad passes because he was getting open, but then the corner would close the gap real quick. And I was like, man, like, yo, Walker was just this exceptional player at UNC, and then the 1v1 show up. Then the game shows up. And it's just like, you know, and I always tell people this, if you're going to be in a Senior Bowl, usually if your 1v1 is really, really good, you don't really have to play in the actual game because you pretty much put all your stuff on tape, right? They see you, they know what they got with you. This was not the case for Walker. Walker really played bad, and I had him at a top receiver right there with the Ronald Dunzeys and stuff like that, Brian Robinson. I had him there, but I saw this footage and I said to myself, was he really in a great system with Sam Howell? Like, can he be adaptable? Is he coachable? It looks like, you know, he's getting tore up by every corner out there, getting jammed at the line. It's just like, it was just so much. So I just said to myself, I stopped and thought about it, and I said, would I take a 1st round pick on this guy? That's absolutely not happening. Would I take a second round pick on this guy? That's not happening. I said, okay, now let's think. Third and fourth rounder, project player. This is where I look at it like, he starts to fall in that project player thing. I think that he'll be a good steal, but he's got to go to a team that's already established, like the Eagles when it comes to like the receiving core. Eagles, Bengals, something like that. Like he can't just immediately come in and dog out right, like ball out right, like I think he can. And I could be wrong, but from what I've seen today and the highlights that I'm going to show you, they not. Nah, bro, nah for them. Next up, Kalen King. Oh my God, Kalen King just. Braden Rice just embarrassed him. Larry McConkey embarrassed him. To the point where I don't think he played in the Senior Bowl game. Kalen King just went from this. As I said, like these last three guys were potential second and first round picks. After the Senior Bowl, these guys have fallen very far from the tree, which is not bad because maybe sometimes, when I don't know, maybe the pressure or whatever, you don't want to do it. It's a lot one-on-ones, but Kalen King really played horrible. Just not good, getting beat off. Just he was the one getting pressed. That's what it was like. He was the one getting pressed against some of these receivers. So, but I want to see more from Kalen King because I believe in him. But last but not least, Sam Hartman. I didn't even have him really getting drafted, but like maybe like in the 4th or 5th round, just because he's an older player. But dude, this guy fumbling, 2 picks, just not in an all-star game for college players. You know what I mean? Like it just did not look good. Like it was bad. Like they left him out there for a while. I think it's to like TV guy was saying, oh well, he's like the last quarterback on the run. Nah, dog. It's just the fact that the reality is bro, like they're trying to get him to end on a positive note, and that did not happen. So Sam Hartman really hurt himself, and it's crazy because I liked Sam Hartman at Wake Forest with Charleston Banks and Charleston Banks and A.T. Perry. But now we're 2 years away from that player. He should have came out last year. It would have been way better, but this year he didn't. It's just so much with Sam Hartman. I just fell apart too much for me. But those are my risers and fallers for the Senior Bowl. I'm going to start diving into what teams need to go for when they look forward in the draft. I'm starting all that stuff after the Super Bowl because, of course, that's when the offseason really kicks in for me, and that's when I start to have really a lot of fun. Guys, in the comments, let me know what you think. Also, real quick, too, I'm a Texans fan, so you already know what time it is. I know what I'm looking out for my Texans first and everybody else. All the other 31s can get in line. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, anyways, like, comment, of course, subscribe. I'm almost there at 1,000. If not, hey, thanks for watching anyways. Peace.